Good evening, everyone. This is Vicki Simons with TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com. And also, you can post after I'm done with this broadcast and also get in touch with us through our website, TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com. If you get value from this broadcast, please feel free to like, share, or mention it to your friends. Anyway, let me give you a quote. I promised I would give you one to inspire you to take action on your budget if you don't have one, or perhaps to set new goals. And this is from an American businessman who's passed on now, but his teaching lives on in many places on the internet. You can also buy his books and also listen to some of his audios on YouTube. His name is Jim Rohn. Last name is spelled R-O-H-N, R-O-H-N. And the quote tonight is, "If you don't like how things are, change it. You are not a tree." If you don't like how things are, change it. You are not a tree. Okay, so I have a feeling that there may be some among us who have gotten into professional driving because there wasn't anything else basically left to do, or you got into a position where you were financially needing to have more income, and so truck driving was handy. You got your CDL fairly quickly, but it left you in a bit of a tight spot financially. And so if you were anything like Mike and I were, when we went to truck driver training school, we graduated and we had a pretty hefty federal student loan situation to repay, and we were able to pay that off. I believe it was in like 21 months between us, and then everything else after that was basically pure gravy. We were able to save up some money, and it was a wonderful thing to be able to buy our land and our home debt-free. And so that was a goal that we had. I didn't want to have a mortgage hanging over my head. And the Lord saw fit to allow me to be able to accomplish that dream, that goal of mine, to be able to do that. So not one penny went to the bank as far as our land and our home is concerned. Okay, but how do you get out of it if you are basically neck deep in debt? Okay, one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do, drivers, is to list all of your assets and all of your liabilities. That is, for example, if you own your own home or you own your own car, go ahead and list that as an asset. Now some say, well, it's a depreciating asset. Well, the thing about it is it could be an asset, especially if you're using it for business purposes. Okay, and of course you'll want to talk with your tax professional about that. But the fact of the matter is, if you have an asset, go ahead and list that in the asset column. If you have liabilities, any sort of debt would go over there, and just basically I'm encouraging you to do that so that you know where you are financially. Okay, you cannot move ahead. Okay, just like when you're getting ready, you do not know how to get to your delivery place, okay, to where you're going to be making your delivery, until you know where that delivery point is. Okay, you have to have a goal in mind on where you're picking up your load, how you're getting there, and then actually arrive there. So we talk about that on our budgeting page. But previously I talked about the situation having to do with writing down all of your expenses in a spending diary. We happen to have a spending diary you can use on our free downloads page. And for 1 month, 30 days, write down all of the things that you bought down to a cent. Okay, list the day that you bought it, the time you bought it, what it was that you bought, how much you spent, and what you were feeling at the time that you bought it. Okay, and that's very important because you can help to identify trends, like if you felt as though because you owed it to yourself, or you feel like I did a good job weaving through that traffic in downtown New York City or something, then you need to understand what it is that prompted you to buy that thing. All right, so after you're done with your 30 days and you've listed your assets and your liabilities, then you'll be able to go on and actually create a budget. When you take your stuff, all of your expenses in your spending diary, okay, you're going to be, and I'm probably stepping on the toes for tomorrow night's broadcast, but the thing about it is you want to break those expenses down into various categories. Okay, now if you've got a family back home, you've got additional categories of things to add in too. So it's not just the stuff that you're doing from the road, but it's also for your family back home. So you want to take all that stuff and you're going to be categorizing it, and then that way you'll be able to put in a budget, put a budget together, at least something for a start. Okay, budgets are designed to be a spending guideline. They are not a straitjacket. They're not to impinge upon you. They're not to make you feel as though you're, that you can't do anything. You're not in a ball and chain. Okay, now if you've gotten yourself in a bit of a financial bind, you may feel as though you've got a ball and chain on you, but I want to help you get out of that. Okay, so anyway, to follow these steps, okay, do your spending diary. And then refer to my Monday night's broadcast where I talked about what do you want your life to look like in 5 years, 10 years, and beyond. Okay, and that way, if you have a goal of being debt-free within a certain period of time, then you've got that to work towards. Okay, so for example, let's just say that right now you're, $1,000 in debt. Okay, yes or no? Okay, and let's just say that you want to be able to put $100 every week, okay, from your paycheck towards paying that off. Well, if you have that goal, some weeks you may be able to hit it, and sometimes you may not be able to hit it every week, but at least you'll have that goal and you'll be able to hold yourself accountable to it. So, for example, you start this week and you've got the 10 weeks worked out in your mind as to when you're going to be doing it. And, maybe it won't be $100 this week. Maybe it'll be 50 or 75. Okay, but anyway, put towards that so that you can start to work that off and make that goal. Also, if you are having some difficulty talking with your driver manager and expressing what goals it is that you have, if you're not getting the miles that you want, if you're not getting the kinds of loads that you want, talk with your driver manager, see if there's some way that you can up your game. Okay, of course you're going to be capped by the hours of service and everything, but the thing about it is if you just talk with them and let them know that you want to be utilized better, usually that can happen. If you're not getting satisfaction with your driver manager, and if your trucking company, and I hope it is the case, if your trucking company allows you to do so, go to the next person up. Go to the supervisor of your driver manager and say, look, I want to get more miles. I want to get better loads, different loads. I want to be able to do something. And if it's the case that trucking company just does not, they can't match that for you, then you might want to start looking for a different trucking company to go to work for, assuming you are not under some sort of illegal contract to stay where you are. Okay, by the way, we do have about 1,400 pages on our website, so it would take a little while to work through all that. But by the way, since we're talking about Leadership Wednesday, when it comes to truck driving careers, okay, feel free to look around as much as you need to. Some people have, they've actually expressed a breath of fresh air, okay, by going to a different trucking company, something that gives them a little bit more flexibility or whatever it is that they need. And sometimes the best trucking jobs aren't advertised, okay, so you may need to find out what's available near you and actually go and, when you're home and do something or make a phone call. Okay, you will want to, as my husband wrote here, you'll want to speak up to those who are in a position to help you. Okay, and if it's a case like my husband had with one of the top trucking companies, top 20 trucking companies in America, if you find that their mode of operation simply isn't working for you, then try to work as best you can with your driver manager, and if you still aren't getting the flexibility you need, move on. Okay, so not every trucking company is the right kind of a fit for every driver, so just bear that in mind. And remember, if you don't like how things are, change it. You're not a tree. All right, and by that, Jim Rohn meant that you're not stuck in one spot, growing in one spot with all the winds of adversity changing you. You can start to do some other kinds of things when you're in the cab of a truck, when you're waiting to help improve yourself so that you can move on if that's what your goal is one day. But for tonight, go ahead and list all of your assets and liabilities, and we'll be talking more about budgeting in the next one. Okay, we may be having a guest on tomorrow night. If he shows up, we'll be learning what he has to say. And until next time, my husband Mike and I wish you safe travels and lots of money-saving opportunities on the road. Have a great night, drivers, wherever you are. Thanks.